Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, it is finally time for the much anticipated 2026 JSC Equine Convention 2-day showcase. So, without further ado, let's go. Fennel and I have worked very hard the past few weeks to prepare for the show, and with this being our first official show together, I'm just hopeful to give her as positive of a showing experience as I can. The show is a 3-day event, with day 1 being the trot up, day 2 dressage tests, and the final day show jumping and grand champion placement. Not only are my nerves high with the first show jitters, but show jumping and dressage happen to be my two least confident events. However, we have been practicing a lot, and she's come so far in her training that I'm just excited to see how much she's progressed and finally let her dip her hooves into the environment we've been working hard to participate in. I had already arranged for an on-site groom to braid Fennel this morning, so all I had to do was give her a thorough hose down to wash the dirt off of her and prep her for our time slot. When I got her from the turnout, she was definitely antsy from all of the frantic movement of the other riders. There were a couple of different time slots for trot-up groups, and we were fortunate enough to be placed more towards the afternoon session. This gave us plenty of time to finish getting ready, so I made sure to bring her to a far wash stall and take my time to clean her thoroughly. I did a purple shampoo treatment on her tail and a few small spot cleans on her patches before giving her a final rinse down and scraping the water off of her sides. I really felt her calm down during the groom, and I could tell she was in a much better headspace than before. Once I had gotten her as dry as I could, I brought her back to her stall to air dry the rest of the way and enjoy a bit of solo downtime while I got myself ready. I changed into my tan show breeches and put a white tank on to wear under my button-up. We're really fortunate to have Ovec embroidered show shirts and jackets when we represent the team, so I put that on over my tank and put my hair up into a bun so it would stay out of my face while we did our vet check and trot up. Once I was all ready, I grabbed Fennel from her stall and did a quick once-over with the brush and hoof pick to get any last particles from her coat. I gave her bridle a quick clean with a rag to make it nice and shiny and fitted it over her head so she was ready to go and brought her out of the barn to the vet check line. Everyone was required to get checked for soundness prior to final registration. I led Fennel up when her name was called, and one of the JSC on-site vets came by to examine her heart rate, stomach, legs, eyes, and overall condition to ensure we were fit to compete. She stood very well for the vet and passed all of her exams with flying colors, even getting a compliment for her overall physique, which was definitely a much-needed confidence boost. Once we were done, I brought her down to the trot-up track. I was in the 2 o'clock group with some other riders from Ovec, including my good friend Jess and her horse Elio, who happened to be going right after me, so we met up with her at the holding area and waited for our names to be called. Really fun fact, I actually hate trot-ups. The waiting is so boring to me, and the event itself is stressful for no reason, so I was sort of dreading running across an audience for a 2-second judging round.
Order band showing MB hourly advance. Rider, you may begin.
Our trot-up went really well. Fennel did great despite the large crowd, and we passed the final portion of her pre-show inspection. I stayed behind to watch the rest of the Ovec riders take their turns and got to see Jess and Elio's turn, as it was his first show as well, so we were leaning on each other a lot throughout the 2-day event. Once the Ovec riders had finished up, I brought Fennel up to the barn to quickly tack her up for a short school over at the practice arena on Paddock Island. They were open to show riders all day Friday and Saturday, and I wanted to let her stretch her legs a bit to stay in a good working mindset. I got her tacked in her jumping gear and led her down to a quiet arena to give her a quick check before using a nearby hay bale to hop on. I wanted to have a nice quiet walk down to the arena, so I gave her the rein and enjoyed the breeze of the ocean nearby while we walked there. We got to the arena and did a quick walk, trot, canter warm-up to get her muscles going before popping over a few jumps that were set up. I didn't want to do too much with her and tire her out, so I kept it short and sweet, but she took everything really well with only a few minor bucks at some nasty distances that we had. I planned to bring her back tomorrow for our final practice school before Sunday's event, so I knew we had another day to get everything down solid. She was just barely starting to sweat when I decided we'd done enough for the day and brought her back to the main grounds to untack. Once we were back in the air conditioning of the main barn, I clipped her to the tie by her stall and decided to just untack her there to avoid the busyness of the cross ties. I got her sweaty gear off and put it to the side to clean later. I gave her a thorough brush down, and she was honestly still looking very clean from her morning wash, which I was really pleased with. Because it was so hot, after I had given her many a treat for her work today, I brought her a special treat of half of a Gatorade to help replenish her electrolytes a bit, and I decided to stay with her while she cooled off at her stall. When she was settled into her stall and finally cooled off, I got all of her night stuff prepped and put by the door for the night hands and said goodbye till morning. I had dinner plans in the city with some friends to debrief day one, so I headed out to there and let her enjoy her peaceful night off. Here's some fun stall cam footage from her night in the barn to conclude day one of the JSE show. My alarm rang nice and early on Saturday morning for day two, and I threw my show clothes in a bag to bring with me and caught the earliest bus I could to the convention grounds. Today was the dressage test and final day to practice for show jumping, so I knew I had a full day ahead. I was competing around 10:30, so I had a lot less time than yesterday to prep, but knowing Fennel was still mostly clean from the day before, and having all of my gear pre-prepped, I only had a few touch-ups to do before our round. I got to the barn and greeted Fennel, who was happily enjoying her breakfast when I got there. I let her finish up and started getting her groomed. She only needed some quick spots cleaned and a brush down, so it only took about 20 minutes to get her fully clean. Once she was all tidy, I brought her outside to tack up and let her get used to some of the horses competing alongside us. It was nearing our warm-up time, so I grabbed my show clothes and got myself ready. It's been a while since I put on a show coat, and man, I forgot how uncomfy the tailcoats can be. I threw on my coat, gloves, boots, and hat, and grabbed Fennel to head down to the arena for a quick 15-minute warm-up before they began my class. This time around, I entered her in the novice dressage class, as I am definitely not confident in my dressage abilities, and Fennel is still in training, so it seemed a better fit for us this time. We waited for our turn, and once we were called up, we waited in the on-deck spot until announced. Here are some clips my friends got of us during our test.
Thank you, Ryder. Next up, we have Margaret Brown showing MB Hourly Advance representing Ocean View Equestrian Center. Ryder, you may begin when ready.
I could not be prouder of our round. Fennel hit every mark we planned, and I think out of all of our practice goes, that was by far the cleanest round yet. I gave her so many pats, and you could definitely see my smile from across the stands. Being a rider that severely lacks confidence in the dressage ring, having a horse that truly loves to learn new movesets has been such a fun experience and a total boost in my own abilities. I gave her a much-deserved free walk out of the arena for our exit and brought her the long way around the fence back to the barn. I had originally planned to take her for our last jump school this afternoon, but after that round I just wanted to let her rest and I really wanted to see my friends complete their rounds a bit later, so I decided to untack her and turn her out for a well-deserved break instead. I talked to a friend of mine before the dressage test who was planning on schooling early tomorrow morning before the afternoon show jumping class, and I decided that would be a better option anyway to use it as a sort of warm-up and plan to meet her at the barn around 8 a.m. tomorrow to hack together. I got some cute clips of Fennel enjoying her turnout after spending a night inside to conclude day 2 of the JSE show. Day 3, I got up bright and early yet again to meet up with my friend who wanted to have an early school before afternoon classes. You might remember her from day 1. It was my friend Jess and her horse Elio who I ride with at Ovec. When I got to the grounds, she told me she was inside with Elio, so I grabbed Fennel from the paddock and brought her in to clean her a bit and tack up for our hack. We planned to go to Paddock Island to use their course again, as the indoor arena was already set up for the show jumping classes later on. I brought her inside where Jess was prepping Elio, and we talked about yesterday's class with another girl inside while grooming. Fennel had unfortunately gotten a bit messy from her night outside, but I had plenty of time to go over it later with a damp rag, so I decided to leave the hard stains for now and just brushed the dirt off of her and picked out her hooves. When she was clean enough, I grabbed my gear and got her all tacked up to head out. She was being so stubborn with the girth today, and it took me several tries to get it tightened as she kept puffing out just to annoy me. When she finally let me do up the girth properly, and Jess was done getting Elio ready, we decided to bring them out to the main road to mount up and begin our walk to the Paddock Island Arena. The arena was pretty busy with everyone trying to get in one last ride before their round, so we didn't stay for too long, but we had a quick flat warm-up together and made a little course to practice with using some of the jumps we knew would be in our class later. Originally, the forecast for today was hot and rainy, so I was so glad that the clouds had dispersed a little and it was only 75 degrees for our ride, as it made it much more enjoyable than a hot, sweaty one. Once we felt good on the flat, we got them going over some smaller fences to start and then jumped right into the larger fences when we were ready. We decided to stop there as we wanted them to have plenty of energy for our official rounds later, and the arena was getting a bit too full for comfort. We spent the entire walk back talking about our rounds later and what we hoped to get out of it. And we were definitely in agreement that because this was both of their first shows, we really just wanted the experience for them and clear rounds. I myself was not expecting to place, as Fennel had a couple runouts during warm-ups, but I was hopeful for a clear round to wrap up our first show. We got back to the JSE barn and let the horses chill for a bit with some hand grazing before leading them back to the main prep space and clipping them to the outdoor tie area to give them a quick groom and put on our show gear. I spent a bit of time getting the remaining stains out of Fennel's coat, and once I felt she looked ready for the ring, I got her tack on. She was much more relaxed about her girth this go-around, and I was thankful she didn't make me wrestle her before our round. Once she was ready, I got my show coat on and put on my helmet and gloves so we were ready to head inside for our class. Jess and Elio followed closely behind, and we made our way inside the indoor arena to the holding area to wait for our turns. I was towards the front of the lineup for my round, so by the time we were inside and ready, it was almost my turn. I was definitely feeling the nerves at this point, but gave it my best go to calm down before our round.
Thank you, Ryder. Next up, we have Margaret Brown showing MD Hourly Advance representing Ocean View Equestrian Center. Rider, you may begin when ready.
I definitely think my nervousness got to Fennel during our go because we did knock a fence towards the end. It was totally my fault because she was feeling me doubt myself, which made her doubt herself, so that is definitely something to work on for the next show we have together. Despite not getting a clear round, I was still endlessly proud of her for clearing the jump that she did, and I already can't wait to get back into the show jumping arena to practice for our next competition. Here are some clips of Jess and Elio during their round that I got when it was her turn. Once we had gone, we brought them back outside to the waiting area where we had to anxiously await show placings for the weekend. We were finally called up, and Fennel and I actually managed to score a 3rd in dressage, which I was beyond happy about. We also scored an 8th in show jumping. This gave us a 6th overall for the weekend, which I was ecstatic about as I didn't expect us to place at all. We were brought to the placing area where we got our ribbons and a photo, and Fennel stood so proudly for her glamour shot. With the conclusion of the placings, the show was finally over, and I can proudly say Fennel and I competed in our first show together. She did such an incredible job and placed way beyond what I could have imagined, so I cannot wait to see what the future holds for us. For those who don't know, I've been bringing Fennel up in eventing myself with the help of an experienced friend of mine, so her training is my own, and she has really taught me how to be a better rider as I help her grow in her own skills. I got her untagged and brought her to a small patch of grass in a quiet spot behind the barn to hand graze for a while and decompress from the weekend we had together. I spent nearly an hour outside with her just thinking about all the things we accomplished and what was to come. This convention has truly been such a special time, and I'm so thankful to the team at JSE for inviting us to this event and hosting such an incredible couple of weeks. I cannot wait for next year and hopefully bring Fennel back for round 2. With that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first show with Fennel at the JSE 2026 Equine Convention, and a really big special thank you to everyone that helped me film this video. See you guys next time!